A Greek god, Poseidon, rises from a river in human form. He walks across a bridge, climbs a building, and meets his brother Zeus. Zeus tells him to look at the sky, dark thunder clouds everywhere, but no lightning. His master bolt has been stolen. Shocked, Poseidon denies stealing it, reminding Zeus they're forbidden from taking each other's powers. Zeus accuses Poseidon's son, but Poseidon insists he hasn't seen the boy since he was a baby. Still, Zeus warns that if the bolt isn't returned by midnight on the summer solstice, he'll declare war. The next day, a boy named Percy sits underwater in a pool for 7 minutes before surfacing. His friend Grover praises his ability, asking how he does it. Percy admits he doesn't know water is simply the only place he can think clearly. They head to English class with a new substitute, Mrs. Dodds. She writes a quote on the board and asks for an explanation. Though Percy doesn't raise his hand, she singles him out. Dyslexic, he struggles to read the words and simply says he doesn't know. After school, Percy heads home to his mom Sally, who lives with her husband Gabe. Percy complains his dyslexia seems worse and may be linked to his ADHD.
I thought this school was supposed to make things better.
Sally comforts him, though she looks worried. Suddenly, Gabe yells for beer, and Sally obeys. Percy hates how she tolerates Gabe's drunken, disgusting behavior. When Percy mouths off, Gabe warns him to show some respect. Percy stays silent but clearly despises him. The next day, Percy's class visits a Greek museum. Just before entering, he hears a voice. Be prepared.
Everything is about to change.
He sees a man who looks like Poseidon, but the figure vanishes, maybe a hallucination. Inside, Mr. Brunner lectures about Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades brothers who fought after overthrowing their father. He explains that gods once mingled with mortals, producing children demigods. Distracted, Percy finally answers correctly, then notices ancient Greek words on the wall shift into English. One name stands out, Perseus. Brunner confirms he's right, but misses. Dodd suddenly insists on speaking with him alone. She lures him into a private hall, vanishes, then reappears above him, demanding the stolen master bolt. Percy is baffled, and before he can react, Dodds transforms into a monster and attacks. Just as Percy's about to be killed, Brunner and Grover rush in, shouting at the creature, calling it a fury. Brunner warns it to leave or be torn apart. The monster flees through a window, leaving Percy shaken. He overhears Brunner saying, "I should have known they'd find him." Confused, Percy insists he didn't steal anything, but Brunner already believes him. He orders Grover to take Percy to a camp for protection before more monsters arrive. Brunner hands Percy a pen, calling it a powerful weapon to use in danger. Percy doesn't believe it, but Brunner ignores him, telling Grover to warn Sally and keep Percy safe. After leaving the museum, Percy asks Grover what's really happening and why Brunner wants him as a protector. Grover admits he's been watching over Percy for years, though Percy doubts it since Grover walks on crutches. Grover insists appearances don't matter. When they get home, Grover urges Sally to leave immediately, but Gabe blocks her, demanding she stay and serve his guests. Percy insults him, and Gabe lashes out, but Grover knocks him down with his crutches. As they flee, Percy swears he never stole the master bolt. Sally says she believes him and explains the camp is for special kids like him. Percy thinks he's crazy, but she says he's special because of his father. Percy doesn't want to hear about the man who abandoned them, but Sally insists his dad never wanted to leave. Before Percy gets answers, a Minotaur attacks their car. They survive the crash, and Percy sees Grover reveal his true form, a satyr. The crutches were only a disguise. They reach the camp gates, but Sally can't enter. She tells Percy it's because she isn't like him. Suddenly, the Minotaur grabs her, crushing her until she vanishes. Enraged, Percy remembers Brunner's pen. When he uncaps it, it turns into a sword. He fights the monster, but loses the blade. As the creature weakens, Percy strikes and kills it before collapsing in Grover's arms. He later wakes in an infirmary inside the camp. Grover says last night wasn't a dream, his mom is gone, Percy is devastated, but Grover blames himself, calling himself just a junior protector without his horns. Percy comforts him, saying it wasn't his fault. Outside, Grover shows Percy around the camp and finally explains. Percy is a demigod. His dyslexia is his brain wired for ancient Greek, and his ADHD makes him impulsive and skilled in battle. That's why he defeated the Minotaur. Percy, who always thought he was a freak, is shocked. As they reach the training ground, Percy spots a girl fighting gracefully. Grover tells him she's Annabeth, daughter of Athena and one of the camp's best warrior. Grover introduces Percy to centaurs, and one of them is Mr. Brunner. Percy is stunned to see his teacher half-horse, but Brunner apologizes for hiding his true nature. He then shows Percy a special cabin built by his father. Inside, Percy spots a trident and realizes his dad is Poseidon. Brunner confirms it, explaining how rare it is for Zeus, Poseidon, or Hades to have children. Because of this, Percy is now seen as a threat to his father's brothers. Brunner also reveals the truth about Gabe. His awful smell helped mask Percy from monsters, which is why Sally endured him. Percy feels crushed, knowing his mom sacrificed so much to protect him, and yet he couldn't save her. He asks why he's at camp, and Brunner says it's his duty to recover Zeus's master bolt and prevent a war that could destroy Earth. Percy insists it's not his problem, but Brunner replies that only Percy can convince Zeus he's innocent. However, he must first train, since monsters will surely come for him. At the training grounds, Brunner introduces Percy to the other campers. Luke, son of Hermes, warmly welcomes him and lets him join his team. Brunner then announces a game of Capture the Flag. Annabeth, leading the rival team, hides their flag while Percy sticks close to Luke. During the match, Luke fights off opponents and sends Percy to search for the flag. In the woods, Percy finds it unguarded, but Annabeth ambushes him, declaring she always wins. She attacks fiercely, injuring his hand, and easily overpowers him as the others watch. Grover pleads for Brunner to stop the fight, but Brunner refuses. Beaten down, Percy suddenly hears Poseidon urging him toward the water. As he steps into it, his wounds heal, and his strength returns. Reinvigorated, Percy defeats Annabeth's soldiers and even disarms her, taking her sword. Instead of striking her, he captures the flag, securing victory for his team. The campers cheer, stunned by what they've just witnessed Percy's true power. That night, while the campers celebrate their victory, Annabeth teases Percy, asking if he feels like a hero. He denies it, but she jokes he'll probably grow a big ego soon. Percy suspects she doesn't like him, and she replies she hasn't decided yet. Suddenly, Hades appears in the campfire. Demanding Percy, he begins burning the grounds when no one answers. He threatens that if Percy wants to see his mom again, he must return the Master Bolt. Shocked, Percy confronts him. Hades reveals Sally isn't dead, only taken, and shows Percy her image. He promises her freedom if Percy brings him the bolt. After Hades vanishes, Percy insists on leaving immediately. Brunner warns him there's nothing to bargain with, since Percy didn't steal the bolt, but Percy can't abandon his mom. That night, he tries to sneak away, but Grover catches him, insisting he'll come as protector. Annabeth also appears, demanding to join her battle experience is essential. Percy reluctantly agrees. Unsure how to reach Hades, Annabeth suggests asking Luke, since Hermes is known to travel in and out of the underworld. Luke admits he's never met his father, calling the gods selfish, but says he once found magical flying shoes and a map in Hermes' house. The map points to 3 pearls belonging to Persephone, Hades' wife, which allow escape from the underworld. He explains they must step on a pearl and visualize where they want to go. Before they leave, Luke gifts Percy a shield. Their first stop, an abandoned restaurant filled with statues. Annabeth notices a fountain of golden drachmas and gives Percy a few. They split up to search for the first pearl. A mysterious woman begs Annabeth for help and drags her away. Meanwhile, Grover discovers a statue of his late uncle that looks disturbingly real. Realization strikes this is Medusa's lair. Panicked, he runs to warn Percy and search for Annabeth. As Annabeth and the old woman try to escape the restaurant, they run straight into Medusa. She welcomes Athena's daughter, saying she gets lonely with only statues for company. When Annabeth asks how she knows who she is, Medusa says she can sense it, admiring Annabeth's hair and recalling her own beauty before Athena cursed her. Removing her scarf, Medusa reveals snakes in place of hair, then takes off her glasses and urges them to look at her. Annabeth quickly shuts her eyes and warns the old woman to do the same, knowing Medusa's gaze turns people into stone. But the old woman grows tired and peaks, instantly becoming a statue while still clutching Annabeth's hand. As Medusa pressures Annabeth to open her eyes, Grover and Percy arrive. Since they can't look at her directly, Percy suggests using his phone's metal case to catch her reflection. Medusa senses another demigod nearby and realizes Percy is Poseidon's son. Furious, she shoves over statues until one traps Percy. She grabs him, threatening to pry his eyes open with her snakes. At the last moment, Annabeth and Grover ram a truck into the lair, hitting Medusa. Enraged, she spots Percy's phone on the ground, catching her own reflection. Percy seizes the chance, sneaks up behind her, and cuts off her head. He tells the others it's safe to open their eyes. Annabeth suggests keeping the head, since its power still works even in death. Percy agrees, wrapping it in Grover's sweater. Among Medusa's jewelry, he finds one of Persephone's pearls, one down, two to go. Checking the map, they see the next pearl is in a Nashville museum. On the way, they stop in a motel to rest. Percy slips into the pool, where Annabeth joins him. After he heals a bruise on her hand, they talk about their parents. Annabeth admits she's never met Athena. Percy wonders why, and she explains Zeus created a law forbidding gods from seeing their children, especially after Poseidon tried several times to meet Percy. Their talk is cut short when Grover calls them in to see Gabe on television, accusing Percy of kidnapping his own mother. Now fugitives, the trio hurries to leave. At the museum in Nashville, they spot the pearl inside a crown atop Athena's statue. Since tourists are still around, they decide to wait until. While cleaners work in the museum, Annabeth shoots them with tranquilizers so they won't interfere. Percy wonders how to reach the top of Athena's statue, then remembers the flying shoes. With Luke's instructions, he soars up and retrieves the pearl. But before they can leave, the cleaners reappear, possessed, and demand the master bolt. When Percy denies having it, they transform into a hydra, spitting fire. Percy slashes its heads, but they only multiply. As Annabeth distracts it, Percy summons water from the restroom to push it back, grabs the pearl, and escapes. Grover then uses Medusa's head to turn the hydra to stone. Afterward, they watch the news. A storm cloud is spreading worldwide, proof the gods are preparing for war. The next clue leads them to the Lotus Casino in Las Vegas. Inside, they're served lotus flowers, which put them in a trance. Days slip by as they lose themselves in games and luxury, until Percy hears Poseidon's voice urging him to focus. Realizing the flowers are a trap, he snaps out of it and pulls Annabeth and Grover back to reality. The casino staff attack when they see the kids resist, but the trio fights through, seizes the last pearl, and flees in a car. Outside, they see the date the 20th of June. 5 days vanished. Zeus's deadline is tomorrow. The map points them to Hollywood, where the entrance to the underworld lies hidden. A ferryman refuses to take them since they're alive, but Percy bribes him with Medusa's golden drachmas. At Hades' palace, hellhounds nearly attack until Persephone intervenes, escorting them to Hades. The god demands the bolt, but Percy insists he doesn't have it, only that he wants his mother back. Hades frees Sally but threatens them with death unless the bolt is delivered. As Percy embraces his mom, his shield suddenly opens, revealing the master bolt hidden inside. Hades seizes it, calling Percy a liar. Percy protests that the shield isn't his. Annabeth realizes Luke planted it to frame them. Hades doesn't care and orders Persephone to unleash his hounds. Instead, she strikes Hades, seizes the bolt, and stops the beast. She explains she refuses to be trapped in a war-torn underworld forever. Handing Percy the lightning bolt, she urges him, "Get to Zeus before midnight." With only 3 pearls, Grover decides to stay behind with Persephone, while Percy, Sally, and Annabeth escape the underworld. They're transported to a skyscraper with a gate to Olympus. Just before they enter, Luke appears, blocking their path. Percy demands to know why. Luke declares he wants Olympus destroyed, to let the new generation rebuild the world instead of the gods. When Percy insists he's no hero, Luke lashes out, snatching the bolt and using his flying shoes to dodge Annabeth's counterattack. He fires the bolt but misses. Percy straps on his own flying shoes and chases Luke across the city. They clash atop another building. Luke mocks Percy as weak, unworthy of Poseidon's son. Before Luke can finish him, Percy summons water from the surrounding tanks, blasting Luke and leaving him broken on the rooftop. Percy seizes the Master Bolt and reunites with Annabeth and Sally. Together they enter Olympus. Sally can go no farther, so Percy and Annabeth proceed. Inside, Zeus leads a tense council, declaring war on Poseidon as the clock strikes midnight. Percy and Annabeth burst in, presenting the Master Bolt. Stunned, Zeus hears Percy explain that Luke was the true thief. Relieved, Zeus commends Percy and halts the war. At Percy's plea, he agrees to free Grover from the underworld. Poseidon then approaches Percy, apologizing for not being there. He explains that Zeus forced him to distance himself, fearing his bond with humans. Poseidon admits he has always tried to guide his son from afar, and promises he'll be there if Percy ever needs him. Father and son shake hands before Percy returns to camp with Sally. At the gate, Sally tells him she's glad he's found where he belongs. Percy smiles, happy she's free of Gabe, and promises to visit often. Back at camp, Grover proudly shows off his new horns. Bruner scolds Percy for sneaking away, but calls him his favorite student and reminds him to always trust his instincts. As training resumes, Percy joins Annabeth, ready for what comes next.